Sabine de Barra, a young talented but unfortunate gardener, is selected to help André Le Nôtre, the king's appointed architect, to build a garden in King Louis XIV's palace at Versailles. Both form a strange friendship that proves to be a little more than just platonic. This story of finding beauty in chaos is set in Paris in 1682 at the Versailles Palace. The scene opens with the chiming of the clock and the door is opened, revealing a little girl in a white gown. King Louis XIV is awoken from his sleep by his daughters, who have made him breakfast. He announces to them that they are to hold court at the Palace of Versailles and informs them about the splendor of his garden, for which he has commanded the greatest masters of France. It should be unlike anything in history. He emphasizes the matchless beauty of the garden by saying, "Heaven shall be here." We see Sabine de Barra, a gardener, living her life sketching and digging shelled species from her garden when she is called by her helper, Louise, who has a letter for her. She is summoned to be interviewed by the king's appointed architect, André Le Nôtre. She prepares herself to be presentable and goes to the city to buy something for herself. A hat catches her attention and she wears it to impress her interviewer. Sabine reaches her destination, and the doors are opened for her. As she walks, her appearance is noted by the other candidates, who are all waiting for their turn. André Le Nôtre himself takes notice of her when she moves one of his pots in his garden. She makes small talk with the other three candidates outside, mainly mentioning that she is nobody and has never worked for anyone but herself. They seem confident that André will be choosing them, while Sabine is nervous as this is her first breakthrough. With André's assistance, Claus sees the other candidate out, who also leaves smiling. Just like all the other candidates, she is called in for the interview, and the first thing André asks her is if her designs encapsulate any order or only follow chaos. Sabine is hesitant to answer, yet still tells him that although she understands order, she is more in favor of creating something entirely unique, something far from the classic. André himself follows the order and has built almost everything with such a design, so hearing her differ from his opinion, he is clearly offended. Sabine notices this and tries to apologize for speaking her mind without thinking, but it's already too late, and he has made up his mind. André Le Nôtre sees her out and she has no option but to leave frustrated. To get over the rejection she just faced, Sabine buries herself in work and doesn't give up until she is done with her little masterpiece. On the other hand, André has yet to choose the candidate he deems worthy of the job. He is in a strange dilemma, as all the other plans are good, yet aren't what the king is looking for. The king is asking for something that André knows he alone cannot accomplish. Though an expert himself, André needs the help of another to create the wonder that the king demands. Sabine's plans are laying in a distance, isolated from the others, and Claus, seeing his master's distress, brings them out in front of André. He knows that Sabine is the only one among the others who have the ability to surprise them and urges André to look over them once again. Exhausted from the day, Sabine is ready for the bath when she hears noises from the outside. She goes to check and sees Louise standing there, who looks at her with excitement yet is anxious. She informs Sabine that none other than André himself is here to pay her a visit. This comes as a shock to Sabine because she never thought a day would come when he would come to her home. But here is the day, and here he is. Sabine goes to get dressed while Louise lets André in and tells him to wait. As he waits for Sabine, André notices the art inside her home. The art represents her, and one can see the similarities between the two. He walks into Sabine's little garden of wonder, and when he lights up the lamps hanging by branches, the whole view becomes more magical. André turns around and sees Sabine standing behind him, keen to hear what André has to say. Instead of saying what Sabine expected him to say, André tells her that the reason he first got into gardening was his father. He was the one who taught him that gardening is holier than the scripture, as the Garden of Eden was the first thing created for humans. He mentions that earlier when she came to visit him, she changed the position of one of his pots and questions her why, but she remains silent. Instead of dwelling on it for too long, André moves on. Sabine inquires why he is here when he made it quite clear that he didn't like her plans at all. André reveals that in fact, her plans were the only ones that caught his attention. His only critique of her designs is the abundance of chaos in the plans. A little chaos is better, but some order must be there to impress the king. This is the last thing they talk about, and then André leaves. Next day, Sabine is again summoned by André, who introduces her to his other colleagues working on the project. There, André announces that Sabine is the one chosen amongst all the other candidates. She smiles, knowing that her persistent hard work has finally paid off. André shows Sabine the grounds that she is to design, which is nothing but a swampy area. He informs her that her vision may be grand, but their budget is limited, so she has to spend accordingly. André hands her all the responsibility of creating an outdoor ballroom that will be surrounded by beautiful fountains. He begins to leave when Sabine stops him and asks why he chose her. André looks at her with admiration and tells her that it's because he wanted her voice to be heard in the garden along with his own. Sabine works all day and night changing the plans for the betterment of the project. During one of those nights, she accidentally falls asleep and in her dreams, sees a young child running in the woods with a strange carriage moving through the woods. The young girl calls Sabine Mama, causing her to wake up abruptly as she responds to nothingness but her own imagination. The next day, Sabine goes to Andre early in the morning and shows him the changes she made in the design. She has successfully come up with a plan to recycle water instead of using it continuously. Andre promises to take a closer look at them and leaves with a smile. Their whole interaction is witnessed by a woman standing at the window above them. While all the other men laugh and dawdle, Sabine continues to work in the field tirelessly. Later it is revealed that the woman who was spying on Andre and Sabine earlier is none other than Madame Le Nôtre, Andre's wife. She is irritated by the fact that Andre is not paying any attention to her but is instead busy looking over Sabine's plans. She is insecure and thinks that her husband might be slipping away, so she warns and reminds Andre that he is nothing without her. He needs her. She thinks that he might be an artist, but at the end of the day, he is merely a gardener, and he needs her if he wants to keep his reputation in the court. Andre stays silent because at this point, he is used to her threatening him. Their marriage is already in shambles due to Madame Le Nôtre's continuous infidelity. Back at the site, the men Sabine is working with are unhelpful and uncooperative. They don't obey any of Sabine's orders, and thankfully, this behavior of these men doesn't go unnoticed by Monsieur Duras. He keeps an eye on Sabine all day long, as she works alone in the area. The next day, when she comes to the site, she is surprised to see a whole new crew waiting for her. All those men from before have been sent to other posts, and this is the crew she will be working with from now on. Turns out that the other candidates who were rejected, due to the bitterness of their defeat, recommended to her the wrong group of people to work with, and consequently because of this, she was having a hard time. Monsieur Duras on the other hand looked out for her, and she is truly thankful to him for that. Sabine chooses to confide with him and tells him about the invitation to the Louvre she was sent earlier. She is scared that there will be a lot more people than she can handle, and her nightmare indeed comes true. The palace is filled with folks of high stature. The king is already talking, so instead of entering the hall, Sabine wanders off into another room where she finds a little girl sitting alone. Suddenly the door to the hall opens into the room Sabine is in, and to her dismay, the crowd starts pouring in. Sabine becomes more anxious and tries to leave, but her exit is filled with people trying to come in. A man sees her struggling and grabs her hand, leading her to a window where she can finally breathe. Seeing the state she is in, the man deduces that she has never been to the court. Sabine proves him right when she reveals that the only knowledge about the event she has is that this is the reception for gardeners, which she was invited for. The man introduces himself as Antoine. Antoine gives her a tour and on their way explains that King has always fancied himself with mistresses, even having children with some of them. As they enter the hall, all eyes are on them. Andre sees them approaching and in an instant goes up to them. He greets her respectfully and she returns the courtesy. Antoine gives her hand to Andre and instructs him to keep her safe till he is gone, which Andre is happy to comply with. Madame Le Nôtre, in an attempt to make Andre jealous, even kisses another man but ignores her completely and takes Sabine outside. They sit in a garden outside where Andre, upon being asked by Sabine, tells her that he has the freedom to move to the Versailles if he wants to. They are joking about Sabine's hat that she wore to her interview when their moment is cut short, as Royal Highness Philippe, Duke of Orleans, makes his way towards them. He is the king's brother, and through Sabine's charming and alluring personality, she manages to befriend him. He inquires why would a woman of such caliber be talking to someone like Andre when she reveals that she is the same as him. In fact, she is working under his command. Philippe's wife, Princess Palatine, also makes an entrance during their conversation. Not only Philippe is wooed by her, but when Princess Palatine learns that Sabine will be the one building the water cascade at Versailles, even she cannot help but take a liking to her. As Palatine and Sabine walk away, Philippe asks Andre if she has also fascinated him just like she did his wife, but Andre simply replies with nothing but words of admiration for her. Later that evening, Andre is sitting with the king himself when he is asked about the new ideas he is letting into the creation of the garden. The king has his doubts, but Andre promises to take full responsibility if something goes wrong, and the king makes it clear that there will be severe consequences if Andre messes up the garden of his dreams. Andre and Sabine have invited a few guests, including Duke Philippe and Princess Palatine, to look over the progress they are making. Sabine has prepared a little demonstration in the form of 2 small explosions that take place, surprising even Andre, who had no idea about her plan. Later, as they are eating, Princess Palatine secretly reveals that Philippe is in love with another man, but she has no problem with that. She loves him still as he provides her shelter and care. During the conversation with Palatine, Sabine keeps looking at Andre with what can only be described as adoration. Unlike Philippe, who hates the countryside, Andre confesses to Sabine that being here gives him the courage he needs to fight his everyday responsibilities. Sabine asks about his relationship with his wife, but Andre doesn't say much. As they are walking just a little behind the others, Sabine again catches a glimpse of the little girl through the trees, and stops to look for a little while, but starts to walk again, when Andre notices her sudden change of mood. They have finally reached their destination. It's a shrine that is adorned by the most beautiful decorations that Sabine has ever seen. As everyone else is busy admiring, Andre and Sabine make eye contact, which only lasts a minute, as a soldier on a horse coming their way grabs all of their attention. Out of nowhere, he announces that the queen has passed away, taking all of them by surprise. Andre comes to visit Sabine and they talk about the late queen. As expected, King is distraught due to the sudden passing of his wife, and rightly so. Andre is about to leave when Sabine gently places her hand over his. Not only Andre is surprised, but Sabine has surprised herself as well with her sudden action. Before things could get awkward, she leaves quickly and Andre can do nothing but watch her go. As expected, clouds of uncertainty and sadness have overshadowed the kingdom. King has isolated himself, eating nothing but only mourning in silence. Only his brother Philippe manages to get through to him, and after talking with his brother, King decides to stay in one of Gardner's work areas to let go of the pain that has inflicted him. Coincidentally, it's the same place where Sabine is headed, to order some shrubs for the garden. She enters where the king is resting and looks around but finds that there is no one here besides the king. King has his eyes closed and is irritated by the intrusion. When he opens his eyes, he finds Sabine standing there. Sabine, who has never seen the king before, mistakes him for the gardener and inquires about the shrubs she requires. King is speechless and only stares at her with confusion written all over his face. Seeing that she isn't getting an answer, Sabine tries to start a small talk with him by bringing up the flowers, and her attempt does prove to be successful, as the king starts discussing flowers with her. Instead of sending her away, King tells her to stay, as he finds her company to be exactly what he needs to get over his late wife. Initially, King continues to play the role of the gardener, but hearing him talk, Sabine finally realizes that he is no ordinary man, but is the king himself. Upon King's request, Sabine agrees to continue their conversation just like before his true identity was revealed. King asks Sabine if she knows the builders working at his garden in Versailles, and that's when Sabine surprises him with the fact that she is the one actually working there. She credits most of her success to Andre, and King notices the admiration she has for him. They work together throughout the day, and King himself does all the chores by her side. By the end of the day, King reveals that he has someone in mind he wishes to marry, but due to her being lesser in status, he cannot. Sabine gives him the advice he seeks: if he truly loves this woman, he should marry her in private so no one can object to it afterward. King asks Sabine if there is someone she loves. Sabine reveals that she does but is hesitant to tell him more about it. After their talk, King finally feels that the burden of losing his wife has been lifted off his chest. He gets up, ready to leave, but before he does so, he invites Sabine to his court and promises to remember this day forever. Andre is also invited by the king to the court, and the one who delivers the news is his wife. She inquires if she should get ready too for the visit, but Andre informs her that he will visit alone. Madame Le Nôtre suspects that he might be harboring some feelings for Sabine and tries to warn him, but he has had enough of her. She is the one responsible for the turmoil in their marriage. Now that Andre is finally letting her go, she again wants to get back into his life. She begs Andre to not exclude her from his life, but he only listens to her without answering and leaves when she is done. There is a heavy indication that it might be raining today, so Sabine is busy securing everything, when out of nowhere, Le Nôtre comes to visit her. She isn't confrontational, yet makes it very clear that Andre belongs to her, and her only. She tells Sabine that although he might give some of his attention to her, his interests lie with her alone. She isn't the first to get his attention and wouldn't be the last one either. Le Nôtre takes off one of her gloves and touches Sabine's face gently. Sabine, on the other hand, stays still and silent. After observing her face, Le Nôtre leaves once she is sure that she has made her point clear. On Le Nôtre's instruction, her lover opens the sluice gates from the reservoir during a storm, and the site where Sabine is working gets flooded with water. When Sabine is made aware of the destruction, instead of sitting idly, she gets into action and tries to close the gates in order to stop the water. Unfortunately, she slips and nearly drowns, but Andre makes it there in time and saves her from the terrible end. After the storm, Andre and Sabine are sitting alone when Sabine inquires if she is only an amusement to him. Andre, upon hearing her say that, reveals that the moment she stepped onto his garden, he has been wanting her. Not wasting a second, Sabine takes him to her home, but before things can go any further, she backtracks and leaves him wondering what he did wrong. Sabine works the next day all alone, desperate to mend the damages done by the flood. She is asleep when she hears some voices from the outside. Unfortunately, King Louis is here to visit the site on this very day. Seeing the mess, he is skeptical, but the men working with Sabine assure him that all this is temporary and Sabine has the power to rectify it. Sabine doesn't go out, but Andre's voice takes her by surprise. He is here too. When King asks if this project has any worth, Andre has nothing but words full of praise for Sabine. He calls her art worthy of the king and is confident that she will not disappoint them. Sabine, hearing the kind words he said for her, feels nothing but warmth and love. As they are leaving, Andre notices Madame Le Nôtre's glove in the corner, and finally realizes that she was behind the master plan of sabotaging their project. Andre goes straight to his wife and confronts her. He presents her with the glove, indicating that he knows what she did. Sabine again goes to the court as she is invited by the king himself. This time, instead of being in one of her old shabby clothes, Sabine wears a beautiful gown that befits the gathering of such sort. Everyone in the court keeps looking at her, wondering what a woman of such low stature is doing among them. Antoine introduces her to Marquise de Montespan, who turns out to be King's mistress. They are busy making small conversation when Princess Palatine also makes an entrance and greets them both. Marquise introduces Sabine to the women of the court. They all gather around here and discuss all sorts of things, even the ones that the king has forbidden. At first, Sabine is startled by their forthcoming behavior, but as time passes, she learns that they are far better than she thought. They all seem fascinated by Sabine. Once they sit her down, they ask Sabine about her children, and that's when she reveals that she lost her little girl only when she was 6. To Sabine's surprise, they all start sharing their own losses, and compared to Sabine's, some of them are worse than hers. After hearing them, Sabine doesn't feel as left out as she did before and is strangely comforted by the women's kind words. The king is here and all the women get ready to meet him. Marquise formally presents Sabine to the king. Andre is also among the king's men and smiles when he sees her. Sabine offers the king the 4 Seasons rose, just like the one they discussed in the garden. Marquise passes the flower to the king, but he seems indifferent to her. To the king, Marquise has become dull, and when Sabine understands the meaning of the king's harsh words for Marquise, she stands up for her. She cleverly takes Rose as an example and converses with King about how it's true that it is fading away, but so does every one of them. Only love and care can prolong the life of the flower. King is once again impressed by Sabine's ingeniousness. Andre knows the extent of Sabine's knowledge, yet she still somehow manages to charm him every time. Later that night, Sabine finds Andre waiting for her outside her room, and finally, they share an intimate moment. The next morning, when Andre wakes up, he sees that Sabine is nowhere to be found. Sabine is back at her home, and as she stares at her child's belongings, the flashbacks from that fateful day return. We learn that although Sabine and her husband, Philippe, look like a perfect couple, he has been hiding something from her. He reveals that he actually has a mistress who he has been hiding from her all along. There is nothing Sabine can do to make him stay, so he leaves. He picks up their daughter and without letting them say their goodbyes, he takes off. One wheel of the carriage appears to be loose, but Philippe is confident that they will make it there with no trouble. Philippe had lied to Sabine, saying that they were going on a business trip, but Sabine figures on time that he is, in fact, taking her daughter to his mistress. Sabine isn't ready to let go of her daughter this easily, so instead of staying, she runs after the carriage. In hopes of stopping the carriage, she tries to barricade their way, but it proves to be a horrendous decision as the wheel comes off and it tumbles off a hill. Both her husband and their daughter passed away in this accident. To this day, Sabine has blamed herself for destroying something that she created herself, her perfect art. Andre finds her traumatized by the memories of the past. He convinces her to let go of the past as she has already punished herself enough. Andre stays the night with her, holding her and offering all the comfort that he can give to her. Sabine is worried about what would happen to his wife, but Andre reveals that their relationship is over. She will live her life and he will live his own. Now Andre and Sabine together will make each other complete again. Sabine's project is finally completed. King Louis along with his court arrives for its inauguration. We see all the familiar faces, ready to see the wonder that Sabine has created. Finally, her beautiful art is revealed and everyone is in awe of it. The music starts playing and through the fountains, water surrounds the whole ballroom. Sabine dances with the king while Andre waits for her patiently. After the dance, Sabine takes leave from the king and joins Andre. Andre and Sabine leave the others behind and walk towards the forest hand in hand. King stays still in the middle of the ballroom where everyone else dances around him.